whole social media world was not really like, people weren't killing it on social media. There was no real jobs there for it. So when I finished year 12, I was like, my year advisor was like, what do you want to do? What should you, like, what's your goals? And I had literally no idea. I was telling mum and dad, I want to leave uni, whatever. And I was the first person in my whole family to make it to uni. So everyone was super proud of me to get to that point. So if I left, it was going to be, I felt like, I was letting everyone around me down. Like I was going to be the letdown sort of thing. This is my journey. This is my path. This is where I'm supposed to be going. And then something better comes along and trumps it. And I'm like, well, fuck, I've got to go this way now. So that's why my life's always so just all over the shop, pretty much in tears on the ground. I was sort of just like, this is not the lifestyle that I want to live, and just involved with the wrong people and stuff like that. So, it's from that day, I pretty much like changed my whole outlook on life. And I look back on that day now as the best day that's ever happened to me. It's not hard to go and get a video job for $900. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you sell yourself right and you can really show your value, it's not hard to, even if you get 2 videos for $450 each or whatever, you only need to work 2 days a week.
So that together we have clarity, direction, and success way beyond what we ever previously thought possible. Here's your host, Frankie Lee.
Welcome back to the Frankie Lee podcast. Today, guys, we have another barnstormer. You asked for him. I've delivered. Jayden Hoskin, the content creator extraordinaire, is on the sofa. You asked, he's delivered. Welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good. This is actually a very comfy podcast setup. I like it.
Mate, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty good.
I could really settle in here.
I think people are going to be surprised, mate, because they got 2 fucking legends sat on the sofa again.
I know. Look at this, eh? Would you look at that?
Look at that, mate. On YouTube, you are looking superb right now.
Do you reckon? I hope so. I reckon we're both looking pretty superb.
Yeah, mate. I tell you what, mate. I'm making baldness look fashionable. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Mate, I think the best place to start with you is obviously I put out a poll on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I said, people, who do you want to see? And this week, mate, I've got people, everyone that everyone's been asking for weeks and weeks and weeks, got lined up. Obviously, you're the first one. Mm-hmm. I've got loads of people asking about you. I know from mutual friends of ours before we met today, obviously, that you've been through a similar journey.
100%.
To what I've been. And obviously, we've had a bit of pre-talk on the pre-roll, but we've been through similar journeys. And I think there's a lot of juice in this for people listening today because of our experiences of maybe, us expecting the world to see us in a certain way and turning up that way, but maybe it not always being that way for us, kind of thing, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Especially the last 3 months, maybe just over 3 months, has been a huge change in just my life. I think definitely like just the way I think, the way I look at the world, the way I sort of operate myself has changed a lot, and that's mostly thanks to our mutual friend Lino. He's definitely changed.
And I can't wait to do that podcast. In fact, I'm actually thinking as well, after I do that podcast with Lino, that I get me, Lino, you, and Mitch to sit down and do a podcast.
That would be epic.
Because I think that is a podcast the world needs to hear.
100%.
Because we've all accentuated through this breathwork journey and all this stuff. But before we go into that, I want to give people the full insight into you. So just break down for the people who don't know you, who are listening to this, exactly what you've been doing the last few years, and then the kind of point where you kind of felt you felt a bit lost.
Yeah, 100%. So my life's been like a huge roller coaster. Like I grew up in a place called Coffs Harbour in New South Wales. So I moved there when I was about 5. I was born in Sydney, and my family moved up to a place called Corinna Beach, and I went to school there all my life, played rugby league. I played a lot of sports, loved all that sort of stuff. And, I got into, when I was about probably 12 or 13, I started getting into YouTube. And this was back before YouTube was even really a thing. Like, no one was making money on it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I was very large into gaming. So I got into Call of Duty and things like that. And I was, like, obsessed with it. I used to just play it, like, non-stop. And that's how I actually got into video editing. So when I was in about probably like year 8 or 9, I started gaming very hard, and then just learnt how to use different softwares to edit my footage. So like we'd make Call of Duty montages online.
So you were just editing it and put it on YouTube?
Yeah. So back before, maybe like the channel's still live now. I think it's like probably like 2010, 2011 sort of thing. I had a YouTube channel. I even done like a tutorial on there once on like how to use Adobe After Effects and things like that. And I was like so young and I had no idea. I was just obsessed with it. I think it's like anything. The more time you put into something, sort of the better you get at it. And back then, I just put all my time and effort into video editing and gaming that I just didn't really care about anything else. And that sort of affected me in my schooling and stuff. Like I was naturally smart. I was like one of those people in school who didn't really have to try too hard, and I'd sort of like always get in the top classes. I was never at the top of the class, but
you could just coast through, get C's and B's, and just tick all the boxes that you needed to tick.
Just ticked all the boxes, with no effort at all, really. So I was very lucky in that sense. But when I got into sort of like year 9 and 10, it was when gaming sort of became really big for me, and like I was obsessed with it. I didn't go to parties. I didn't do literally like anything. All my mates would, on the weekends they'd go out and like party and whatever, and I'd turn up to school on Monday. They'd have all these stories. Oh, we went and done this, went down the beach, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, what did you do on the weekend? And I was like, just gamed. Really, I didn't do anything. And like I didn't understand at the time, but that's sort of what learning how to do video editing and sort of content creation back then, before it was a job, gave me the biggest head start on, I guess, life today, because it's such a big thing in today's sort of society. But I remember there was this one time in science class that I was sitting there, and I was actually, because we got given laptops in school when I was in year 9. And as soon as I got that, I was like, "Fuck, sick! I get to edit my gaming videos in class. Like this is epic." So as soon as I got that laptop, it was definitely not good for my grades, because I was sort of like just signed in on the internet, downloaded, because we had Premiere Pro and After Effects and things on our computer because we used it for school.
It's so good that you were doing that with your time. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like doing like boxing stuff or fitness stuff. I'd spent my time doing that rather than the schoolwork.
Well, I was still all in like sports. I played representative rugby league. I played representative cricket and things like that. So sports was still a huge part of my life, and that's something that I loved. But gaming sort of took over. I'd be at footy training and I'd just be thinking about playing Call of Duty when I got home, sort of thing. So I remember this one time in science class, I was sitting there, I was editing a montage video for Call of Duty, and I got caught. I always used to get caught editing, and this one time the teacher just blew up and he just kicked me out of the class. He's like, "You're never gonna, you're always bloody on your laptop, like you're editing these stupid gaming videos. They're never gonna go anywhere." Like, and I got kicked out. And I remember sitting there. I picked up my laptop, walked out of the classroom. As soon as I got out of the classroom, I sat there and I was like, fuck, I'm just going to keep editing. So I was sitting outside editing more, and then it became a problem. And at home as well, my mum and dad were always like, oh, you need to get off the games. Like, they'd take the PlayStation off you or whatever. And so it got to the point where I was like, all right, maybe this is something that I should give up. Like, I don't think it's probably going to be beneficial for my career in the end. And so I gave it up in like year 10, focused on year 11 and 12. And, I still always enjoyed it, and my mum and dad bought me a camera one Christmas, and as soon as I got that, it was so hard to like learn how to film, because I knew how to make a full movie in After Effects, Premiere Pro. I knew how to edit, but the gaming footage was recorded off my TV. For me to film off a camera, I picked it up. I was like, what is it? I didn't even know what settings were. I had no idea. So when I got into year 12, there was a class called multimedia. There was a topic or whatever called multimedia. And I was like, I think that's like video stuff. And I was like, well, maybe this is the point where somewhere in my school I can actually learn this properly. And so I picked it, but no one else picked it. So I had to do it distance education, which is like you get a free period in your class, and you go to the library and you work on whatever topic you picked, sort of thing. And so I was like liaising with this company from Byron Bay. It's called SAE Institute. So I think I was like sort of studying.
So they're teaching you from a distance at this point, like online learning.
Online learning. It was all about multimedia, anything from Photoshop, After Effects, all that sort of thing. And so that was sort of like my favourite subject at school. I loved it because one, I like learning by myself. I don't like someone telling me how to do something, So by me sitting there, I could watch videos online, like they would send me videos, but then I also use things like YouTube and that. So I just got this 1 hour a day that I had in my class. I just put all my time and effort into really learning how to not only just edit gaming videos, but edit real life stuff, So my major project was, I had to make a sort of a movie using all the things we learnt, throughout sort of the class. And I edited a motocross video of my little cousin riding around, so my auntie and uncle lived next door to where my mum and dad were and where I lived. And I filmed my little cousin riding around on his motorbike and made this sort of like movie out of it, and sent it off as like my major project. And I actually emailed Bliss and Esso, like a band. And because we needed to do a part of the project was you needed to have copyright, like you needed to get it approved by the song or whatever you wanted to use.
So you're using their song.
So I used their song and I was like, fuck, hopefully they reply to me. I had no idea they would.
Is that the song that I just want to be that way?
No, it was called My Life. The song was My Life. So I emailed them, and then funny enough, I don't know how, but they got back to me, and they're like, yeah, sweet man, like you can use the song or whatever. And I was like, sick. So I had Bliss and Esso song on this video, and then sent it in, and I got like ridiculous grades for it. Like the people, like the HSC or whatever, was studying this. I think they ended up using my video as like an example to show other students, like this is what you could do. And
that just goes to prove that you should always like lean into things that you're passionate about.
100%.
And ignore every fucker that tells you not to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like people have said to me in the past, like, Frankie, like, why are you podcasting, mate? You got a content removal business. But like, this is what's my passion. Bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I loved it.
I like communicating with people, man. Like, I don't want a content removal company. I got one.
Yeah,
and it's good, but that doesn't light me up like this does.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But even when I got those grades and stuff, I loved it. Loved making the video. All my family watched it, and they all loved it as well. But I still didn't know back then. There was no real like full-time content creating jobs. You know what I mean? Because social media was it was early. It's probably I graduated year 12 in 2014. So the whole social media world was not really like, people weren't killing it on social media. There was no real jobs there for it. So when I finished year 12, I was like, my year advisor was like, what do you want to do? What should you like? What's your goals? And I had literally no idea. And I was like, well, I like sports, I guess, because I didn't think there was nothing multimedia.
You didn't even think there was anything that you could lean into with what you'd been creatively.
Nah. Yeah. And I'd done work experience actually with Prime News because I thought maybe, I could film, and I hate, like, news sucks. Like I did not. That was not. There was no creativity in that at all. And so I thought, oh well, that's all the jobs there was for video and stuff. So I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I was looking through all the university degrees, what you could pick, and there was sports and exercise science. And I was like, I'm into sport. Like I'll give that a crack. And so I entered that, but then I found out that the closest place to study it was actually Gold Coast up here at the university, Gold Coast Uni. I don't know. Griffith. No, it wasn't Griffith. Southern Cross. Bond. Southern Cross. Southern Cross Uni, yeah. And I was like, well, I may as well. And I had my cousins lived up here. I had 2 cousins, and they lived on the Gold Coast, and we'd always came here for holidays and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe I should just move to the Gold Coast and study sports and exercise science. So as soon as I finished school, picked that, got accepted into the uni, and moved up here. I was 17 when I finished. I was a year young for my school sort of things. I was 17 when I finished, rather than in New South Wales, most people are 18 when you finish school. So I moved up here. I was only 17, moved out of home, got an apartment with my cousin, and started going to the next year, started going to Southern Cross Uni doing sports and exercise science. And when I got into uni, it didn't take me long to realise that this is not what I want. Like I'm going in there. I don't know why, but I've always had something in me where it's like I just always like to like question everything. Like why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? So I would turn up. I'm like 18. I don't even think I was 18 yet when I first, because I'm 18 in March. I think uni might have started like start of March or late February or something. So I was 17 in this uni, and I'm looking around, and there's guys who are like 40, 50, and they're all in uni. And I'm like, why are you here? Like, what went different when you were my age to? Like how come?
A lot of them just do uni, I find, for something to fucking
something to do. They have no idea. All these people who walk around like headless chooks, man. Like that's just, and they talked about topics that I did enjoy. Like I had a group of friends in uni that they were good friends.
Still say hello to,
Sometimes, say hello to them here and there, but. Majority of people in uni, they were different. I could never connect with that. All they talked about was uni stuff, and I hated that. I was there for sport.
What I've found from meeting many people like that is the fact of they're very institutionalized into a system. So they will answer a topic to get a grade. They will revise a subject to get a grade. See, a lot of the people I surround myself with are people that work on what's called like delayed gratification. They will put a massive amount of front work on the front end to get paid later down the line and to repeatedly get paid. And that's a totally different mindset to people that will just do, I will do this and I will get this. I will do this and I'll get this. And that's what they do their whole life. But they're being taught a system of operating. Yeah. It's like, you do that and you get rewarded with this. You get that. But you can't take an A and put it in the bank.
Nah. And I was,
what I mean?
I was so happy that I realised this at such a young age. And I remember I was right into my gym and things like that. So I was trained at World Gym Burley, and there was a guy there. His name's Zac Smiths. He's like a big fitness influencer and things like that. So he was pretty big at the time, and he was training there. And I remember he was saying that he was looking for someone to do content for him. Like it was sort of back at the start. Like I said, the social media wasn't very big, and there was no real jobs for it. But when I heard that he was sort of looking for someone to do content, I thought, fuck, that could be me. Like maybe I'll give it a go. I never once thought that I'd do it for a job, but I thought this would be fun. I get this guy's like got a bit of a status going on. He's like the
he's
man.
Massive in fitness.
Yeah, massive. Especially even back then. Like he had like sort of the Ragnar sort of look, the Viking look, So I remember I went there and I was like, yeah, man, I can do videos. And I never made a gym video before in my life. And I was like, I can do it. And he goes, all right, well, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, come, like, let's film. So we went down to World Gym Burley, filmed the video. And then I went back to his house and edited it up. And I just sort of used the same techniques that I had learnt from the gaming video sort of styles where, if you say, for example, in a Call of Duty montage, you'd always time the beat to the gunshot. So if in the song, they were doing 360 no scopes, all that sort of stuff. When they shot, there was a beat of the song. So I thought, when I'm making this gym video, because Instagram as well only had 15-second, you couldn't do like long videos on Instagram. It was only 15 seconds, and there was not really many people. Like, I knew barely anyone in the whole world that was doing actually edited videos from their computer and transferring them over to Instagram and then uploading them. So I didn't have anyone to sort of look at as like motivation or inspiration to be like, this is, there was no model to be like, Zac never said make something like this guy, because there was nothing like that.
Yeah, which actually helped you.
100% it did. 100%, because when we started posting it, I made this one video and he watched it and he was like, bro, it's like, what do you do for a job? And I was like, oh, I'm in uni. And straight away he goes, fucking leave that. He's like, get out of uni. Like, I'll hire you full time. It's like, you've got a talent and we need to take this to the world, sort of thing. And I was like, whoa, like, that seems pretty cool. Like, this is, uni wasn't what I wanted, but this seems cool. I get to travel and make videos for a fitness influencer that had a name for himself. And I was into the gym. I was like, this is a fucking dream job. This is what I want to do. And then I think it was like a couple of days after that, I had my first exams for uni. It was like the 8-week, what do you call it, the first semester exams, whatever. And I remember, like, I woke up that morning and Zac was like, he's like, don't go, man. You don't need to go. Like, you just come. I'll take you on, and we'll travel and like make films and whatever else. And he's like, I got you. So I was like, fuck. I was like, right. So I didn't go, and I sort of been speaking to my parents prior to that for a couple of days, telling them what I had going on, but they didn't understand. Yeah, you know what I mean. Imagine ringing up your mum and dad, be like, "Mum, I'm thinking about leaving uni," because
and this is where people need to understand that your mum and dad can put limiting beliefs into your psychology, and it's not because they want to do that to you. It's because when they were younger and in their time, there weren't the opportunities that we have now.
Nah, no way.
So there's two things to that. One, be mindful in the future when you have children not to limit their beliefs predicated on what you knew today,
100%.
and don't allow them to limit yours today,
yeah,
predicated on what they knew in the past as well, because that's really powerful shit.
100%.
If you can avoid it, which you have.
Yeah,
but so many people are still out there now. We could find about 10 people downstairs working in Woolworths instead of playing guitar on the street busking, because their mum and dad have told them, nah, that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember I was telling mum and dad, I want to leave uni, whatever. And I was the first person in my whole family to make it to uni. So everyone was super proud of me to get to that point. So if I left, it was going to be, I felt like, I was letting everyone around me down. Yeah. Like I was going to be the letdown sort of thing. So it was a huge decision that, when I woke up that morning and I was just like, I remember mum and dad ringing me, make sure you go to these exams, blah, blah, blah. And then I just couldn't do it. I was just like, I can't do this. I've got to go to Zac. I've got to, I believed in him. I was thought he said, I'll take you under my wing. We've got this. So I just trusted what he had to say. And I remember mum and dad were like, well, like they didn't want me to do it, but they were like, you need a contract, he needs to sign something, blah, blah, blah. And then, the first contract that I signed was for $400 a week, which was nothing. And my rent was like $200. So I was like, fuck, this is a big risk. So I don't know. Yeah, I literally had no money. Like my family, if they were helping me out with anything, like paying my phone bill or anything, they were like, well, if you leave, we're going to cut, it's all on you.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, well, this is what I want to do. I hate uni. I hate going there. I hate the people. So I'm just going to do this. And then, from that day on, that was like my whole world changed. Like 2 months into that, I got a phone call, and it was from one of our Zac's managers, and she rang me up. She's like, hey, buddy, how are you? I was like, yeah, good. She's like, just got a question. She's like, do you know the Olympia competition? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, how would you feel if you ever got to go there? And I was like, because it's in Las Vegas. Yeah. Like, that would be sick. Like, I'm an 18-year-old kid. I'm like, yeah, that'd be mad. I'd never traveled before. She's like, well, I'm just letting you know, you and Zac are off. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you're going to the Olympia. And I was like, what? I just couldn't believe it. I was like, no way. Rang up Mum. I was like, Mum, I'm going to America. She's like, what do you mean? I'm going to the Olympia. Like, I'm filming over there. I've got a job with a nutrition company. Like, we're off. And then,
fucking, how exciting is that when you're 18?
You
could have been doing an exam in some load of shit.
Exactly. Hated. And it was insane. And I took off to America. I had the best trip, and me and Zac sort of built this relationship where people were following us along. Like, we were sort of like, because he was very good in posting me a lot as well. So we sort of built this relationship where people wanted, wherever Zac went, I went. I was 18 years old. I was getting stopped in the street in Vegas to ask get photos and shit. Like, it was insane. It was the most insane experience ever, and people were always like, what app do you use to edit your video? Because no one knew that I edited it on my computer and transferred it up, uploaded it to Dropbox and done it that way. So everyone was like, what app do you use to edit? Blah, blah, blah. And his videos were getting plenty of views, like heaps of views, because of one, the way he looked, and two, the way it was edited. And it was different. People were like, fuck, this is cool. It's like, it's to the beat. There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
So it was exciting. And then supplement companies at the time seen that, and everyone wanted a piece of it. So we just got to travel the world. And from that period, over the next couple of years, I went to like 14 different countries, just traveling around doing shoots for swimwear, supplement companies, like fitness expos. Literally everywhere. We went to like Germany.
What a mad experience as well, because every time that you're doing that, you're getting more and more editing experience and more, reps. And
the people that you've met, that you meet too.
And the connections, bro.
Now I've got network around the world. Like, you know what I mean? If I went to America, I've got the people there. If I went to, New Zealand, everywhere, we were just like connecting with the right people and meeting a lot of like successful business owners, which is why I think today replicates sort of my following. It's not the biggest following, but the people who do follow me are very important.
Highly engaged and
very important and influential people, which I'm very lucky to have people like that watch what I'm doing. It's just, I think it's just because as I was sort of I was the guy that was making their content and helping them make money, so they loved me. If I had something to bring to the table, I wasn't. All these people I looked up to, they were my heroes. I was online. I was into fitness, so all these people,
and they all support you today. Like I said to you when you was running late for this podcast, like I just looked through like your last photo, and you got like 99 comments, but like 90 people of those 90 comments are people that are like highly influential people that you've filmed or you've edited content for, and they're all supporting you on your journey.
100%.
And it's like that is the value of backing yourself and leaning into what you should be doing in your gut, rather than following a narrative that's been set out for you.
100%. And everyone, they were all so interested in my story too, because I was sort of like one of the first people to do this full time. I don't really know anyone before me that would have been a full-time social media content creator, just solely doing that as a job. You know what I mean? Like, there was probably in Australia, especially. I don't think that
you created that.
Yeah, there was probably no one before me doing it. So all these business owners and things, they were all like, because I was so young as well, they were just interested in, like, they were like, how the fuck did you get here? Like, you're like 18, you're in Vegas, and you're making videos. Like, what have you done? And I was like, I don't know, man. I just got here.
but there was a series of events that happened to you where you had to go against
the normal,
against what the better, like, everyone can say, "Oh, do this, and do this," but it just goes to show you there's no set way of achieving what you want to achieve, and no one can tell you what you want to achieve.
Exactly.
So it's like the people that say to me, "Frankie, why are you podcasting? Because it's not generating you dollars yet, but you're putting dollars into it." I'm like, bro, you don't even understand what I'm building.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You can't even comprehend what I'm building here.
Yeah.
And this is not about fucking dollars on a balance sheet, because it's more than that to me. 100. I fucking love it. Yeah. So if it lights me up, I'm leaning into it, and I ain't listening to your because everything that you lean into that lights you up will eventually pay you somehow anyway.
100%. And I always thought that I didn't even care about the dollar value. I always thought that, like, my experiences, the life that I've lived, people would not live this life 10 times over, you know what I mean? So people could go through their whole entire life numerous amounts of times and not have done the amount of things that I've done. And that's like, it even still doesn't feel real even saying that. Like,
and how old are you now?
24.
24 years old, right? And you've probably lived 6 lifetimes. 100%.
Like, if I died tomorrow, I'd be content. You know, I've done a lot of things, and I'm happy with everything that I've got going on. And like, I don't know, but the thing is, I'm still not happy with where I am. I've always been like that. I've always wanted to do more. I can't sit still. Even, like, you know, anything that I've got going on, I'm sort of the type of person that it sort of works some ways in a bad way for me, because my mind just goes boom, 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 boom. I've always got 1,000 ideas.
You're speaking to the choir here, bro. Fuck,
everyone's always like, what do you got going on today, Jayden? And I'm like, oh, you know, I got this business, I'm doing this and that. And everyone's like, oh, yep, sweet. And like, I struggle to stick with the one thing, you know, because there's always better. But I think that's the thing. Where there's always better offers coming along because of the amount of people that I network with. So it's like one thing at the time. I might think, this is my journey, it's my path, this is where I'm supposed to be going. And then something better comes along and trumps it, and I'm like, well, fuck, I've got to go this way now. So that's why my life's always so just all over the shop, because I'm always getting more.
You're feeling into it.
Yeah,
you're feeling into it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
there's no right or wrong way.
No.
You know, I've done podcasts on topics that I never thought I'd do. I just done a podcast with the Danny Grant, who owns the Wet Pussy alcohol brand. I don't even drink alcohol, bro. But it's like, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like, it's an interesting thing, and obviously some people that do listen to this podcast do drink. A lot of people do drink, so it's like, I'm not going to just be defeatist on that because I don't do it. I'm just going to be like, embrace that.
Yeah,
I've done a big podcast on OnlyFans. I don't do OnlyFans, but I still want to know about the narrative of how it's doing. It's like, so you're the same. You're like, if you get a call tomorrow and it says, right, you got to go to Malaysia to film this content, it might not be in your schedule, bro. But if you're like, fuck, I want to do that, you got to do it.
I've just got to do it. I'm a yes man. I always say yes to things. It's like, even before I think, it's like, if I think that, you know, if that's something that sounds good, I'll do it. Even like, I don't think about the consequences, or like, if I go and do this is going to be affected. Like, I'm just like, yep, let's go. If I've got other stuff booked in and someone offers me something better, I'm like, let's go. I love the feeling of that. I love the feeling of just being like, something new and exciting is happening. Yeah.
Do you think though that by chasing all those new and exciting things that eventually you kind of hit a wall with it?
Definitely. I definitely hit a wall. It's probably like about 3 months ago. So I sort of like, growing up and traveling the world and seeing all these things definitely made me grow a lot older than what I was. So that's what people always said to me. They're always like, how old are you? And if I'd say, I'm 20 or I'm 21, they'd be like, whoa, I didn't even know that. I thought you were a lot older. And it's like, because I've traveled and done a lot of these different experiences, and it sort of forced me. I've seen so much shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, good and bad, you know, I've seen a lot. So that's forced me to grow up and sort of mature a lot. And, I think that, like, I don't know, it's just, seeing the world and realizing that there's the amount of shit that's out there makes you think, like, the people who are stuck in their own town or small town or whatever, they have no idea about the rest of the world. There's so much shit that goes on. So it's sort of, I got caught up in a lot of it as well, which is like, that's sort of like the bad backstory of what to my life is.
I mean, did you know something was like starting to feel a bit out of place once COVID shut the borders down and you couldn't travel anymore? So you couldn't kind of do. Is that kind of when you thought to yourself, I've got, and like had to look a bit inward, because obviously, like, the shut of the borders down, you couldn't go around the world for work anymore, I presume.
I couldn't. Yeah.
So now you got a lot of time to. Now you got a lot of time when you're not what I term as busy.
Yeah.
And humans in nature make themselves busy.
Exactly. Yeah.
When they should be spending their time actually understanding who the fuck they are.
Yeah. And I think COVID, at the very start of COVID, even a little bit before that, I got very involved in partying. Like, I loved a good time. So, I think, like, traveling around gave me this false impression of, like, partying was okay. You know what I mean? So even on the Gold Coast, like, so easy to get caught up. People, I feel like on the Gold Coast, a lot of people don't even realise, but they have a drug problem. You know what I mean? Like, they all think it's sweet, like it's normal here because it happens every night of the week. But when I sort of realised, I took a step back and I was like, hang on a sec, this isn't fucking normal. You know what I mean? This is not. That's not what I want to be doing. It's not who I am. And I think along the way there was like I got sort of caught up in a few of the wrong things, and it really sort of, because I thought it was. I thought it was all right because everyone else was doing it. But I quickly learnt the hard way, and that's July 2nd of this year was a very big day in my life, which sort of everything changed. And now I look back on that day and think, that was the best day that ever happened to me. The full story, I was like, haven't sort of disclosed exactly what went on, but, the Mitch and the boys. And
do you want to unpack it?
Oh,
I think now's the time, bro.
I think I'm gonna save it. Me and Mitch will do a podcast about it. But it was a pretty intense experience. Something that not a lot of people would ever, pretty much no one would ever go through. But that sort of day made me step back and really take a look at my life and what I was doing and the way I was heading, and sort of all that big persona of like I'm sort of.
So what ultimately culminated in you bringing down the persona? You can talk, look, mate. You can talk about it. Whatever podcast you and Mitchell do, it's going to do numbers either way, bro. You know what I mean?
Well, that was like a big event.
I just want people to understand the real pivotal point in your life, so that they can kind of sit into it themselves. Because there's a lot of people out there inspired by your journey because they've seen you go to this massive high where you're traveling around all these influences, creating all this content, boom, 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 and then you've hit a fucking point and it's gone fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Well, that was like I was working one day in the warehouse, and someone that I hadn't seen in about 2 years sort of rocked up, and right then and there. So I really started to question what I had going on in my life, and there was a few people sort of turn up, and a scenario went down, and left me there, sort of sitting on the ground, sort of licking my wounds a little bit, and
so you'd got in a bit of trouble, so to speak.
Yeah, I got in a bit of trouble, and from that, when I was sort of left sitting there, pretty much in tears on the ground, I was sort of just like, this is not the lifestyle that I want to live. And
was this predicated on the back of drugs and alcohol? And,
the party scene,
the party scene, and getting involved in with those kind of crowds.
Just involved with the wrong people and stuff like that. So. It's from that day, I pretty much like changed my whole outlook on life, and I look back on that day now as the best day that's ever happened to me. Because that night we went around to Mitch's house, and Lino and everyone was there, and we sort of like all sat around and had a ceremony sort of thing, and we all sort of evaluated what just happened and what went down, and they were all there for me to support me and sort of pick me up, and from that day I knew from that day I never wanted to feel like that again, and I was going to do anything in my power to get to where I wanted to be. And so from that day on, that's when I started. We were doing the sunrise things every morning. I stopped partying. I started got right back into my gym training and things like that, just really focusing on being the best version I could be of myself, because before that, I thought I was the best version of myself. I knew I had sort of like personal issues where I had this sort of false idea of what perfect was.
Why do you think that you turned to drugs and alcohol in those like last 6 months? Like, and why did you go into the depths that you went into it?
I think that like when you travel the world, you see like how normal it is, and so you think that it's okay. That's what I was saying before. Like, just because other people are doing it, you think that it's okay. And because I was just, I was young and sort of just I thought it was cool. I felt like it's sort of that's just what people did. But now,
and were you hitting it like every day?
No, not every day. Just I was partying a couple times a week maybe, or sort of every weekend, like just more than what it's not like I had a serious problem, but it's just a lot more than normal, you know what I mean? It's definitely like, yeah. Gold Coast, more and more people these days, it's becoming more and more normal. Like I would probably just see, looking back now, I would see there's a lot of people that I know around the coast who's doing exactly what I was doing, they don't see it. They think that it's okay. But it took a pretty gnarly situation for me to sit back and be like, fuck, that's not okay. This isn't what life's about. You know, I've got so much to look forward to, and I've built up this sort of lifestyle for myself that I know I can do better. And going down that path was definitely I needed to make a change.
Well, obviously Mitch has been through similar things. Obviously he obviously came on there and talked about drugs and the alcohol and how he abused himself. And the fundamental thing is, no matter what addiction it is, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, party addiction, whatever your addiction is, ultimately, if you're doing something too much, and you know, and you always know it's too much.
100%,
right?
yeah.
But if you're doing it, if you actually don't judge yourself on it, right? Anyone who's listening to this right now, don't judge yourself on it. Just observe and understand that you are doing that to get away from something.
100%.
And it is your job in that moment not to judge yourself and start making yourself feel guilty about what you've done. That's not what the world's trying to show you. The world's trying to show you you're trying to get away from something, and it's very fucking important right now that you're honest about trying to find out what you're trying to get away from.
Probably the biggest lesson that I learned, especially off Mitch, was if you're struggling through things, it's very hard to deal with it by yourself. So if you're I was hiding a lot inside me and putting on a front where, you know, people ask, how are you? I'm like, I was always so bubbly. I'm epic, man. Like, life's good, you know? Whereas inside, I know I was lying. Like, there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on behind the scenes that I wasn't all right. And I think the biggest thing that Mitch taught me was it's a lot easier to get yourself out of those situations when you have a team behind you. It's not I'm going to get myself out of this. It's we're going to get ourselves out of this, you know? So as soon as
because you are who you surround yourself with.
Exactly. So from that day, I remember, my mum and dad came up from Coffs Harbour and in a hotel room, and Lino was there as well, and we sort of sat down at the table, and we all sort of spoke about what was going on, and I left nothing to hide. You know, that was the first time in my life where I really just let it all out, and I was like, this is exactly what I've got going on, and told everything. And I thought the reaction I got was I never wanted to let anybody down, you know, I thought that by letting out what I had going on was going to let a lot of people down. But what I quickly realized was no one was angry at me. They were there to support me. Yeah. But I didn't know that. I thought I was going to get hated
because you'd already judged the outcome of how other people would think of you before allowing people to actually be there.
Yeah,
and it's what we're all guilty of. We're all guilty of trying to turn up to the world how we think the world wants to see us, when we should be focused on getting more back to our true selves, so that we can turn up how we should be fucking turning up.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. And from that day, like it was sort of over that one weekend. It was like it's probably the lowest point in my life. But you know, once I had the team around me to help get me out of that situation, I've never looked back. Like my life today, sitting here, is fucking awesome. I love it. Everything. I've got nothing to hide. When there's nothing left on the table to hide, your life's so much easier. I don't have to now. If something goes on, I just say it. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like this. I don't feel good today.
This doesn't suit me.
This doesn't suit me. And by being honest with your situation, people, they get around you. And I think that's what now my following, like, you know, I always, like I said, I've got a small following, but a lot of people message me and look up to what I'm doing and thank me and say that I've helped them get out of a situation. It's because I'm not hiding anything. A lot of people online, like a lot of my friends who it's their job to be this person when that's not really them, sort of thing.
Me and you know a few people that are going through that, and the thing about Australia. Well, let's just talk about Australia in general, right? Australia is one of these beautiful, lucky countries that has a lot of influencers, a lot of people that have, between 100,000 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million followers, and they've got a certain amount of success by playing a character in their lives, right? And they're still playing the character,
100%.
And the character that they're playing, yes, it might generate revenue and put dollars on their balance sheet, so to speak, in their personal life. But we both know that there's a lot of these people that aren't happy, that need to look inward.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about in 9 hours of like breath work and integration,
their life would change. The way they communicated with the world would change, and as a byproduct of them changing within themselves, they could influence millions of people in the right way. How they are. 100%. I think that's what makes me sort of feel good about sort of being honest with what I've got going on now, is because a lot of those people sort of do follow me and watch what I'm doing. So by me being open and honest, I've had messages from guys like that who have millions of followers or a lot of followers and things like that. They're thanking me, just being like, "Fuck, man, like you're doing really well." Like they're killing it. I'm not killing it compared to them. You know what I mean? But they're thanking me and be like, "You're so open and honest." And
but that depends how you consider killing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can. Me and you are both financially stable. We're all good. Yes, they can earn more dollars for what they're doing, but it doesn't. But if they're not spending that time, using that money to buy time to look inward, to grow and accentuate who they fucking are as a human being, it's really fucking. Are they killing it? Are they killing it?
Yeah.
And you and I both know, when you strip it back, 80% of the people that are commenting on your post that follow you all need to do the inside work.
It's the inside work that changed me.
It's the inside work that levels you up.
And I think, like, even when I first started doing these breathwork sessions and things like that, until you actually do it, you don't understand. Like, it looks weird, you know. If you've seen someone, if I didn't do this, and I was walking down Miami or Broad Beach or something like that, and I seen someone sitting on the side of the beach playing music, breathing heavy, like, I would think, what the fuck's this person doing? Bro. You know what I mean? I'd be like, that's so weird. But until you actually sit there and you do it yourself, everybody out there, don't care who you are, you need this sort of thing in your life. It literally, I don't care if you're like, you think that you're this fucking epic person, you're killing it or whatever. If you're not doing this internal work, you're really not killing it.
Well, you and I were speaking before the podcast, and I'm going to be releasing a podcast in probably the next 8 weeks that's gonna blow the front doors off who people know me as and how I turn up and all sorts of stuff, because of the work that I'm doing with Lino and myself on a one-to-one basis. Obviously, you know more about that than most people, because he's probably told you about some of the stuff that we're processing right now. But what I want people to understand is, with this breathwork thing, 100% try doing breathwork. But there's a situation in my life where I did breathwork and I went deep and I opened Pandora's box, but I probably didn't have the integration on the back end that I should have had, because I didn't know about it, because my mind wasn't open. So when you go deep into the breathwork that me and you are going into, I never realised until I met Lino, until I went and started going deep with Lino, like, how fucking important that hour conversation you have after you come out of that state.
Exactly.
Because when you go into breathwork, for those of you that don't know, that listen to this, that are probably waiting to have your minds open on this, when you go into breathwork, it releases DMT in your brain.
Yeah.
Right? Naturally releases DMT. So a lot of people will go, I want to do mushrooms because they want to open up their mind. And mushrooms isn't a bad thing. It's natural, and in a controlled environment, that's fine. But before you go there, before you go mushrooms, the way Lena was explaining to me is like, learn to do the work with breath first to be able to get yourself to the point where you can start to see yourself internally, right? And then that opens you up. But you need to be able to, when you do this, guys, right, if you're sitting there, you're thinking, fuck, I'm talking shit right now. But
it's insane.
It's insane. It's fucking, I can't even put it into words.
You can't explain it. This is what I was like, when we go on those men's medicine walks and things with Lino, and you get back from it and someone asks you, what'd you do today? It is the hardest fucking question to answer. Like, what do you say? Like, well, today I went for a walk And
I learned more about myself in fucking half an hour than you've learned about yourself in 20 fucking years.
Yeah, literally. And it's like, I've literally, and then they're like, well, how'd you do it? And I'm like, I breathed. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, we done breath work. And it sounds so weird to say, but it's like, you just got to do it.
But yeah, and like I say, it's that after you've been to the depths that me and you have been to, and cried out the emotions that are trapped in you at the cellular level, like me and you have had to get rid of and are getting rid of on a daily basis. When you've looked that far inward, you need to be able to integrate back after you've been there.
100%.
So once you've released that amount of emotions out of your body that have probably been there since you were a fucking 8-year-old child or younger, they may have even been, you may have even picked them up while you were in the womb. Right, that's how deep and ingrained at cellular level some of this emotional energy can be inside a man, woman, dog, whatever. Like once you get to that stage where you've released it, you need to spend that hour of care with someone who can sit with you and help you piece together what has just gone on.
Yeah,
it's so important.
100%.
And that's
why I'm so grateful to have Lino as, the good, almost older brother that he is to me. Is like he was the one who was ringing me up after, that's how much care he has for the people around him. It didn't take me to ring him. He was like, even when I thought I was sweet, I looked down my phone and Lino was ringing, and it just felt it. He's just to have him check in, which is, I know that there's a lot of these sort of breathwork sessions and things opening up now, and a lot more people are starting to do it. But that's the thing that differentiates Lino from the rest, is he actually genuinely cares about what you are and what you're doing post the event. And that's where the other people, that's where the other sort of systems fail, is like you were saying, once they break you all the way down, and then they just say, all right, sweet, see you later. You know what I mean? Good luck.
And it's not so much their fault. It's just, it's a different business model.
It's a different business model.
Different business model. And for getting people into breath work, it's fantastic. But for the kind of work that me and you are willing to do, and that everyone should be willing to do for themselves, you can't achieve that level of emotional torment. You have to go through a little bit of torment. You have to purge yourself of these emotions, right? You can't go that depth within yourself and learn who you are without having someone to help you on the back end to integrate you on how you feel on the other side of it. Like I did breath work with Lino last Thursday, right? It is now Monday, right? It was an hour conversation before we started. We breathed for an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. I'm telling you that when we release this podcast that we're going to do, it's going to be the most powerful podcast that anyone ever listened to on this podcast so far. I've released so much. I released emotional baggage that I had massively in depth, bro. I was broken. I was a broken man on lying there crying hysterically. It's just so. It was so much pain that logically I'd got over, but emotionally I'd never got over within my body. Yeah. And that was all trapped within me, bro.
100%.
All trapped within me. And even now I'm still coming to terms. I even know now, honest to God, I'm still coming to terms with what I went through. Now. Yeah.
It's insane. And that's why I love the fact that Lino has been able to impact so many people on this level now, because I've known Lino for a few years now, even back when he was a PT at EMF at the gyms, and we sort of said hello here and there through the gym. And then once he started doing his men's medicine stuff, I went on one of the first, I think it might have been one of the first walks, and sort of and really got to know him on that deeper level. Because once you share a journey like that with someone, you really you respect them on a different level. And it was from those sort of first walks that I just wanted to tell everyone about it. So I was like, even anyone now who comes to me with problems, I'm always like, he's your guy. I connect him up. So even with Mitch, so I introduced Lino to Mitch and all that sort of thing. Everyone who I have around me who needs help internally, I was just introducing Lino. I was like, he's your guy. This is,
But here's the thing with that. We all need. We all need it.
100%.
Everyone. Rest assured, if you're listening to this podcast today, this is the podcast that is here to tell you right fucking now that you need to learn to breathe.
100%.
And if you learn to breathe and you're willing to find out what's on the other side of learning what emotions you've been blocking coming out of your body for your rest of your life, you're free. I looked at Lena rings me this morning. He says, "How are you?" I said, "Mate, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't fucking know." Right? I said, but I don't know what it is, right? I've got this Aura ring. It tracks all my sleep. I've never been able to get REM sleep, right, which is your dream state sleep.
Yeah.
Never more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For a fucking long time, ever since I've had the thing. I looked at it this morning, random as fuck. I just thought, I want to look at me sleep app, see how I'm sleeping. And all my sleep scores have gone massively up since Thursday, right? And the key thing is this REM sleep's gone up. My REM sleep's gone up, which is my dream state. And I'm like getting like fucking near 90% now, like 105%. I'm like, what the fuck's happened here? So I mentioned it to this morning, and what he was explaining was that's your subconscious mind that's now allowed to be peaceful. You know what I mean? While you're sleeping, so you can actually work on stuff, work on creating things in your life because it's peaceful. It's repairing. It's opening up new pathways. Yeah, and that's the power of breath work. Yeah, and I'm talking about that's from last Thursday till now.
It changes your life instantly, 100%. And it's funny. Have you seen the public sunrise bursts that we've been doing on Tuesday mornings? Yeah. So that the whole reason why that started was after that event that happened on July 2nd. I was a mess, and the next couple of days after that, Lino was really there for me pretty much every minute of the day, just ringing me non-stop. Like he was there, like he would come to the apartment and all this sort of stuff. And we went for a walk. I think might have been the morning after or the next 2 days later. Went for a walk because he was walking his son Ocean down to Broadbeach every day because near where he lives. And he goes, "Join me on my walk in the morning. Like come down. Like it would be good." So we went down for a walk, and he goes, there was like on the beach. There was like this sort of bench there, and he goes, "You want to do some breathing?" And I'd done it a little bit before with him, but not a lot at all. And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, and he's like, like the breath work we do on the walks. He's like, "Do you want to do something here?" And I was just like, "Oh, I don't know." And he's like, "Come on, I think it'll be good. Like, let's do it." So, Ocean, his son, we put him like he was in his pram, and we sat down and we done the breath when the sun was coming up, and from that moment we were both just sitting there. We were just like, "Whoa, this is like something super powerful." So, after that morning, I texted Mitch and I was like, "Bro, you have to come down and try this out. Like, it's fucking insane." We just done a breath work on the sunrise in Broadbeach, and like, it honestly was the best feeling ever. I feel so energized now. I could fucking go and run a marathon. So the next morning, Mitch come down and done it, and then also our other mate Sam. So there was four of us. Sam Young, yeah. And there was four of us sitting there, and we were doing the breath work. We had the speaker playing and stuff like that. And I remember I opened my eyes and I looked around, and there was an old guy and a young lady, and they were both in tears, like hugging each other and stuff like that as we were doing the breath. And I don't know what, because usually I'm so zoned in and I don't sort of notice what's going on around me, but for some reason I sort of just looked up and I was like, whoa, I noticed them crying. Once we finished the breath work, I was like, guys, you should have seen, like, I think what we were doing here has impacted somebody else over here, and they were in tears, like, and sort of felt our emotion. And turns out that the lady came up to us and thanked us and was like, "I just want to thank you guys so much for what you were doing. Like, it really impacted me. I'm going through a lot right now." And they didn't even, the two people that were crying, they didn't even know each other. So from our energy and connection that we had going on, we had these two complete strangers come together and have each other, crying in each other's arms. We were just like, this is fucking insane. So we were like, we need to do this on a larger scale. So the next week on it was a Tuesday morning, we were like, let's just open this up to the public and let's get people down here. Let's get everyone down here to experience what we're experiencing. And then the first week we had maybe like 30 people. The next week there was 50, and then there was 100, and it got up to 200. There was one morning there we had 200 people, and I was just sitting back and I was like, it's so, like, those people wouldn't have came if it wasn't for like Mitch to post it and get get it in front of those people. But I just kept thinking in the back of my head, I was like, imagine if I never went through what I did and never seeked help and never asked Lena and never done this breath work. Like, all these 200 people wouldn't be here today if I didn't reach out for my help. So that morning I was emotional because I was like sat back and I looked at all these 200 people, and I just remember thinking, like, I've fucking done this,
mate. There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people that listen to this that have never heard about the power of breath, that may just take a chance today to go and book a breathwork session, to go and experience what we're talking about. And that will change the course of their life, because I don't care whether you're trying to perform higher in business, in a sport, or just know more about yourself and who you fucking are. If you are one of those three types of people, which most of you are if you listen to this podcast, then I'm telling you right now, the fastest way to move your life forward to a different fucking level is to access the power of your own breath and to understand the power, what you've stored away emotionally within yourself for the best part of your whole fucking life.
100%. I just think, like, since I started doing this, I've developed it hasn't been released yet, but it'll be coming out very soon. I've developed a full online film school. So I've always thought, like, I've always wanted an online product. I've always thought that in the online space, everyone's killing it. All the people around me are making so much money doing online things, and I've got this large network of people, but I never use it to...
Never got anything to sell them.
And I was like, what can I... And I've always thought, what can I sell? I was thinking about products and, doing e-com and all this sort of thing. And then it's sort of after unlocking my sort of true potential through this breath work and talking to people around me, and that's when I sort of discovered, I'm like, why would I go and sell a product that anybody can do? Why wouldn't I sell a product that is close to home for me? And that was teaching people what I've learnt. So
I'm still trying to figure what that is for me, bro. Because everyone's like, just go and get some random sponsor for the podcast or put ads on, but I ain't doing that. That's not authentically me.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
So that's the same thing that I felt every time. I'd always I've gone through so many failed business ideas where I would get to, like, the creative process, register the business, and then think, and then it'd come to crunch time and I'd be like, actually, you know what, this isn't, like, there was a few things, like I had a skincare product, like, there's so many things that I started doing, and then I got to it and I was like, fuck, I don't give a fuck about skincare, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't, like, I honestly, like, I like to moisturize and things, but like skincare, I don't want to sell that to people. Like, it's not me.
Because you saw someone else do well with skincare and you've been influenced, predicated on numbers.
100%.
Which if you strip a lot of what people are getting influenced on Instagram, for argument's sake, I would encourage everyone on Instagram to go through the people that they're following and just unfollow the people that aren't truly giving you the juice that you need in your day.
100%.
Like, do you know what I mean? There's so many of those. There's so many of those that I'm following, and I'm telling you now, there's still about 150 or 200 people that I follow just because I don't want to upset them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm still trying to take that out of my life, and I've got rid of 500 already. Yeah, and I'm still telling you that I'm struggling to unfollow these people because of, like, what other people think, and I'm doing the work.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
So if you're not doing the work, I'm telling you now, you're probably following about fucking 90% of the people that you follow are probably not good for you.
Nah, 100%. And I'm even guilty of that now. But the same thing, I like to use my social media as a network. So, by following different people, it's like, if I ever need something, I've got the friends there that can do it. Yeah. But definitely, like, developing this product is, I've made an online course where there's 3 modules to it, and the first one is how to film videos just using your smartphone. So, because I thought I want to do an online course of video and photo editing and all that sort of stuff, because that's what I'm good at. But over the time, it's developed in, all right, so what is someone's reason not to buy this? And then it was like, all right, so probably because, I can't afford a camera and things like that. So I was like, all right, so I'm going to make this course on everybody's got an iPhone and everybody, has a laptop these days. If you've got an iPhone and a laptop, you can make a video. So I went out and started filming and recording ads and things like that, just using my smartphone. And I even realized, I was like, fuck, iPhones shoot epic content, especially the new iPhone 13 that just came out with the cinematic mode on it and things like that, filming in ProRes. Like, my camera that's worth $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 can't even film in ProRes. So it's like, now by an iPhone having those capabilities, the same sort of things that, like, you see on the Red cameras or things like that, everybody has access to a full cinema quality camera in their pockets every day, but they don't even know it. And so
they don't know how to make it look like that either.
Exactly. So I was like, that's it. I want to make a course on exactly how to do it, what settings to use, if there's, like, good manual camera apps. Like, most people don't even know that your camera can, tap one button and it changes it to 4K resolution, on the camera. So like most cameras that are say for example you buy an iPhone that's $2,000. If you went and spent $2,000 on a camera, it probably doesn't even shoot in 4K, but your phone does. And this inbuilt stabilization that the iPhones have is better than any other camera that I know. So
do you reckon that I should shoot this podcast on an iPhone rather than this?
What are you shooting on? Oh, GoPro's good. iPhones and but definitely your iPhone would be fucking mint quality for a podcast. Yeah, I wouldn't go and buy a camera that's worth $2,000. I would just use your phone, just put it on 4K, change the frame rate, and you're sweet. And you can alter if you download. There's apps that you can get which turn your iPhone into a full sort of DSLR camera where you can change the ISO, white balance, temperature, like everything straight from your camera.
I'm gonna buy an iPhone with a massive amount of storage on it.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna start shooting it on the. I'm gonna pay you to set it up.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna shoot it on that then.
100%, and it's fucking the quality of it is insane, and like you can get microphones and things to attach, and like tripods and that to attach to your phone, and especially with the cinematic mode on the iPhone 13, you could make this podcast look like it's been filmed off like a $50,000 red, because it fully blurs out backgrounds. It captures, what it does is it captures ProRes. It captures so much data that, say for example, if you have your foreground in focus and the background out of focus, and then when you go to edit it, you go, fuck, hang on a second, I want the background in focus and you can change your focus shift after you've filmed it. Which is fucking insane.
I'm not even a camera guy, and you've just given me like a fucking, like, that just juiced me up.
100%, yeah. So that's like, and I always knew this, but I never thought that it was of value to other people until I started talking about it. And like even you now, they're like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Yeah, to me, the way I see it is, and we'll put a link to the course in the show notes, but like, so people can access this for themselves. But like, I'm at the stage in life where I'm like, I love what you're saying, but I'd just rather pay you to do it. And I have access to you, so I can do that. But but if people don't know you on a personal level and can't get you to do that and can't pay you to do that, then this kind of course is going to change their life, because because if they can do this, then they can go and learn to edit, and they can access the kind of lifestyle that you're now accessing because they've got the editing skills.
100%. So that's the other thing. So I've made the course on how to film using your iPhone, and then there's a second course on how to edit. So once you've filmed, like, got your footage and exactly how to set it up and all that sort of stuff, then the editing course is on there, where a lot of people think that editing takes a long time, which for most people it does. But for me, I don't know, just the systems that I've put in place and the way, it's like the more you do something, you always find shortcuts on how to do it faster.
Refine it.
So in the course, there's modules and videos on there of me live editing something. So I edited an ad for Gymshark, and I screen recorded my screen and recorded myself. So from start to finish, this whole ad, so you can see me import my files, save the project. Like, you can literally watch everything that I do.
So you filmed a Gymshark ad on an iPhone?
Yeah. Oh, no. So the ad's not filmed on an iPhone. So the editing course is, I shot the ad off my actual camera. So the iPhone course teaches you how to use your camera to film. Yeah. But in the editing course, I do both. So I edit some, I show you the difference. I'm like, this is filmed off my camera, this is filmed off an iPhone, this is the difference, blah, blah, blah. But for the Gymshark ad, I filmed it off my camera, but I was just showing the process I put behind editing, and how it's not actually, once you know what you're doing, it doesn't take that long. I think the video goes for an hour and a half, but there's a lot of that time where I'm talking and explaining. So if I just sort of sat there and edited it from start to finish without talking to the camera and explaining what I was doing, the video probably would have went for like 50 minutes. So when you put it down to an hourly rate, if a company like Gymshark pays you like $2,000 for a video, and you can go and shoot that in an hour, 2 hours, and then you come back and you edit it in 50 minutes, it's fucking pretty good hourly rate.
Yeah.
So I want to go, and that's my goal with the course, is I want to show people that you don't need an expensive camera. You've got your iPhone, and then you don't need a lot of time to edit. This is how you edit quickly.
Yeah.
And for a video, like if you work at a regular job and you work 38 or 40 hours a week and you get paid, say $900 a week.
Yeah.
It's not hard to go and get a video job for $900. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you sell yourself right and you can really show your value, it's not hard to, even if you get 2 videos for $450 each or whatever, you only need to work 2 days a week.
And it's like I pay my video guy, $300-400 a week plus extras on top, and I just got him churning out videos all the time.
Yeah,
because I understand the power of video.
100%.
I'm like, okay, I'm completely sold on that. But obviously, I have to identify with me. Where's my best time spent? Well,
Exactly.
My best time is actually spent on having these powerful conversations with people like you. And then his best time is spent leaning into what he's fucking good at.
Definitely.
Which is he's already prolific editor.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing LSKD's ads. He does all their in-house work. He's shooting epic content like you are. So I'm like, well, fuck me. I'll just give you that then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
I think what I wanted to do with the course is I marketed it as like, it doesn't matter if you're already a full-time videographer, like by watching this and it's always good to learn off other people too. You never know it all. You never know it all. So even like if you're already a full-time filmmaker, but you watched my video on how I edit, and maybe you might pick up a few things and be like, fuck, he's done that way quicker than what I've done mine. So I want to market it to those people. It doesn't matter if you already know how to do it. There's always new ways that you can do things and faster.
I think it's the systems that will help people move the needle.
Yeah.
It's not because a lot of people, like, if you're passionate, they might already be editing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's apps like Video Leap. You can do a lot on Video Leap.
100%.
Like,
that's another thing too. A lot of people these days they've got false impressions of how fast people, like, because of things like TikTok and that. Like, when you go and film a video, people on the day I've get messages, bro, like, when do you reckon you can have it edited? You know, because if they've already got content that they've shot on the day and then they've edited it that night on TikTok and they've put it together, it's nowhere near as good as what you can make off the camera, but at least it's still some form of content they can get on the day. It's given people, a lot of videographers, and that it puts a lot of pressure on them to be like, well, it's not like before TikTok where we could take 2 weeks to get a video back and it would be sweet. Today, it's like, fuck, if you don't have it done within 48 hours, people are hounding you for your video, you know? So there's a lot of pressure on people to edit quickly. So I want to target that, but also I wanted to target, if you're like, say, a mother and it's your kid's first birthday and you don't want to spend $500 on a videographer, you can pull out your iPhone and you can learn how to edit your own video and make it yourself. Or like, say, for example, if you you're running out of Christmas is coming up, you want to know like the best form of present. This is what makes me feel really good. The best form of present is when you can touch on someone's emotions. So like by me giving someone a video, and especially if it's of them or of a family member or something like that, when they can watch it back, they keep that forever, and they'll always
memory
doesn't go, and that's why I've made connections with a lot of people who have, you know, a large influence. Once you give them something that they're going to remember forever, they connect with you on a different level. I'm now offering them something where they feel good. I'm not giving them money. Everyone can give someone money or something, you know what I mean? When you make someone feel a certain way, that's when you can connect with them on a deeper and an emotional level, and that's what I want to give out. I want to be like, you know, I want to show people, this is what you can make people feel like if you learn this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why when I connect with people via sending a video or sending a voice note. Yeah. Because you can't connect the same way by text.
No, you can't.
And it's like, people say to me, well, how do you book the people that you're booking at the scale that you're booking them at? And how do you do that? I'm like, because I have worked tirelessly on the art of communication.
Exactly.
And I communicate best by voice and by video. And I lean into that. Like, I see people getting these messages of people trying to book them on things, and it's like this big long message from, like, you can clearly see it's from a girl in the fucking admin section.
Exactly. It's not authentic.
And it's not authentic. And what you're talking about is about authenticity. It's like, you've took the time to make a video to give them something to use on their social or this, that, and the other, that makes them feel a certain way about themselves. And as a byproduct of that value, you get the connection that actually respects you and knows that you know, likes and trusts you, predicated on that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, like, I don't know, it's just a good skill to have. When I first started doing it, back when I was doing the gaming videos, the amount of people that put me down for learning this sort of thing and call it, like, you know, you're the nerd, you're never going to go anywhere. And then the transition now to today, where I have people literally like asking me, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm just like, for me to see that is such a weird feeling, because like I literally got, you know, almost like bullied in school for being the gamer, you know, like, and now all the people, like, you know, I was never the best looking in school, or I was never like, there was all the people that go out and party, like, oh, I slept with this person, so that, like, I was never like that, because I was shy. I didn't really have good people skills, like, because I was so confined in my sort of gaming area. But now, like, the reason why I can be so outspoken and bubbly and fun is is filmmaking taught me how to interact with people. So like I can go and I could talk to anyone as soon as I meet them, and people ask me like, how do you know this person? I know a lot of people because I just fucking talk.
It's reps.
You know what I mean?
You got to do the reps. It's like people DM me and they're like, you know, how can I get better at communication? I'm saying, well, how, you know, if you're having 3 conversations a day, have 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like how and they're like, matter of fact, like it can't be that simple. I'm like, it is that simple.
Yeah,
it's like it is. You don't when you start a podcast, when you start video editing, you aren't the best at the craft day one.
Nah,
but
I'm still not the best. You just got to give it a go.
Yeah, same here. But like, you still every day you're sharpening your conversation skills. You're sharpening your video editing. You're sharpening your. You just get shit done.
100%.
But it's too many people reading books on shit but not executing. Reading posts on social media and not executing.
Yeah.
Buying the course and thinking that is the action. I'm telling you now, if there's 16 people or 160 people that bought your course or this podcast, there'll only be fucking 16 that execute on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't make today the day that you don't buy anything unless you're going to execute on it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because every time that you purchase something like a course or read someone's post and take in all that information and don't do anything fucking with it, you're basically reconfirming to yourself that you don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
And that isn't what this podcast is about. No. This podcast is all about moving you forward in your fucking life. And the way that you move forward in your life is that if you hear some information on this from you, from anyone else on this podcast, and you got to fucking execute.
100%. Yeah.
Execution is the only game in town. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but do something. Don't fucking listen to this podcast and not do something.
Exactly, and it just comes down to persistence too. I've failed at fucking heaps of shit, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm not afraid to lose everything that I've got if I feel like one day it could pay off. And I think that's what a lot of people don't. They're too scared to like go out of the normal and be like, oh fuck, I'm not going to leave my stable job now to go and do that when I could lose it all. But it's like I was always the person to be like, let's go. I don't care. Like I could have zero.
But how much time and effort and money have you invested in yourself in the last 5 years? Probably everything you have.
I have literally everything. That's it. Like if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would be a failure, 100%. I can't build shit. I'd suck at doing the trade. I'm not like, you know, if I didn't develop the skills on film and photography, and I would be nowhere. There's no way I would have stuck out my uni degree. I absolutely hated that. So I would hate to think where I'd be and what I would be doing if I didn't put all my time and effort into what I was good at.
And what you probably realise, and what I want the audience to realise is, you're stacking your whole years between, especially between the age of 18 and 30, should be spent stacking skills.
100%.
Like video editing, fucking web page design, Shopify design, all these things, email list management, copywriting, fucking all these skills, Facebook ads, Google ads, stack all these skills. Bit of knowledge in everything. You know, you don't have to go deep into everything, just a bit of knowledge in everything. And then one day, when that right thing comes across your desk that you need to execute on, you've got enough skills that you've created to launch your minimum viable product in that niche, to launch your minimum sales funnel, whatever. You've got enough skills just to get it off the ground, to get a few sales, to then get the experts involved to get that shit to the next level. Yeah. But at least you've stacked enough skills to be able to execute something. At this moment in time, there's a lot of people that have this big grandiose idea about wanting to have an e-com business that don't even know Shopify, that don't even know Google ads, that don't know Facebook ads. I'm like, you're missing the fucking point here.
100%.
You can learn Facebook ads by setting up a social media marketing agency and start marketing for restaurants before you have an e-commerce business, because you need to know how to drive traffic to the fucking store before you launch the fucking store anyway.
Yeah. Well, I always think like, if you learn as many things as you can and you find, you know, what you think you're good at, one day there's going to come a time where there's going to be a table and there's going to be a seat available at that table, and you have to, they're not the people who are already at the table, who are already doing what you seem like you want to be doing. That seat, when that comes available, you got to earn that. So like if you put all your time and effort into like, you know, a few different things, and then one day like someone comes to you with an opportunity, and they're all sitting at the table and they're like, who's going to take this spot? You need to be on that shit. Like, you got to earn your seat. Like, you can't just, this is what, like, you can't ask to be sat at the table. You can't, hey, can I have a seat? You know what I mean? They're going to tell you to fuck off. You have to earn your place there. Like, if they're all, you know what I mean? They're all dining in. Like, someone can't be knocking on the window and be like, hey man, can I come and sit down? They're going to be like, who are you? You know what I mean? But if you offer some value, you've got something that they want, they're going to be the ones to pull this. Come sit down, man. Come over here. You know what I mean? Yeah. And once you're there, it's then your job to keep that seat. And that's what I've always...
Yeah, and it's your job to keep bringing value to people. Like, the way that you do that is by helping people with no expectation.
Yeah, I've always done that. I've always been the one to like help. I've never asked for any favor. This is what's benefited me a lot recently is because I've never sold a product or the people that I know and the people who I'm lucky enough these days to call my friends, a lot of people ask them for things, whereas I've always been the one to like, I don't ask for anything. I'm a friend first, and then favors come second. But for me, I've never needed any favors because I'm just doing my thing. I'm happy doing my thing. But now that's benefited me because now they've got my online course, got all this list of contacts I can ring up and be like, dude, I need help here. Like, can you come film a testimonial for me from what we've done? Or like, let's work together. Let's collaborate on this. So now I've finally got a product. I've got all these people that are like, fuck yeah, man, I'll come and help you out.
Like, I'll come help you because of how many times you've turned up for me during exactly right. And it is solely about that. You know what I mean? It's solely about giving value to others. It's why I put so much money, bro, into free content. Yeah. Like, because I'm building value in the marketplace. I'm saying here, I'm turning up for you every day for every week. I'm putting out a banging podcast and I'm going to give you access to people that you probably can't gain access to, right? I'm going to give you that because of my communication skills. I'm going to give that to you, right? When I do have something to sell, maybe in the future, when I do have something that you can do for me, maybe leave me a review, I would like to think by that point I've given you enough value to get a fucking 5-star review on Apple. Exactly. Like, if I haven't, I want to know what the fuck's gone wrong.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
It's like it's not. As long as the value you get is like 5 to 10% of the 100% that you give to the world, I don't think there's a bad value exchange there. No, but it's just there's a lot of people like some people DM me, bro, and say send me $100, and I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Well, this is what I get a lot is when you know a lot of these people is like, I'll get DMs like, oh man, do you reckon you can just ask this person if they can do this for me? I'm like, I don't even know who you are, so why would I do you a favour, let alone ask one of my friends to do, you know what I mean? You can't, that's the whole thing. Like, they're asking for a seat at the table. You can't ask. You've got to earn it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
and social media is two-pronged. There's a lot of great people in the social media space, and there's a lot of not so great people in the social media space. And you want to, if you go out and lead with value, you will find the good ones and forego the bad ones. Exactly. So there's a powerful route to the table as well, like to get to the right table. 100%. You can 100% get to the wrong table.
I've been to the wrong table. Let me tell you that.
And you can end up dancing on it with some girls that you don't like as well.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I've definitely sat at the wrong table before. That's for sure.
You sat there, you've eaten there, you fucking probably.
I've had dessert, and then I've thought I've eaten too much.
Mate, it's so true, man. It's like people got to realise you are on this planet. The reason you're put on this planet is not just to idly go through life just existing. You're put here to do something. You're put here to learn something about yourself. You're put here to ask questions about narratives, to start questioning things, to start trying to deliver some value in the world. You're not here to do fuck all.
Exactly,
right? Yeah. So your value in the world right now is predetermined by the amount of value that you're bringing to the world. So this will trigger you. If you're earning $30 an hour, that's about how much value you're bringing to the world.
Yeah, right, literally.
Simple as that.
You've got $1 value to your name.
Yeah, you've got $1 value to your name, but it doesn't have to be like that. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be like that. Like you can, but if you want to increase that $1 value, you bring more value.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring more fucking value. That's all you have to do. Is
Yeah.
bring more value. I don't care how the fuck you do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, and everybody has something to offer. It's not like people can't look at me or you and be like, oh yeah, but you know, you're good at video making. I wasn't always good at making videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I learned how to do it. I spent hours and hours figuring out that craft before it was popular. So it's like, I feel like if I had known today that everyone was going to want to ask me how to do video, I would have put even more time back into it back then. But yeah, like I was struggling to find my feet and thinking about, what I was going to do when I was older and all this sort of stuff, and learning about questioning everything, and all that sort of stuff. So now it's like, by me just having this attitude of like, I'm just going to give everything a go and see what happens. Now I'm sitting at the right table.
Bro, 100%. And it's like, and people are wondering about me, and they're saying to themselves, well, what have you done? I'm like, well, I went out and knew that influencers, brands and celebrities were struggling with online content. So what I did was I became the expert at removing online content for those people.
Yeah.
And I know every fucker because of it.
Yeah.
Right? When you've removed the nudes of some of the biggest women in the fucking world, right? You've got contacts.
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they owe you a favour.
100%.
Right? Because I've added a massive amount of fucking value to their life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when the borders open and you start seeing who I get on the podcast, predicated on the basis of how much value I've added to the world for the last fucking 5 years, right? People will start to fucking get it. Yeah. And it's just like, that is what you do. That is simply what you do. Go and find a skill that allows you to add value to brands, celebrities, people of note, people who are doing big shit, and you will then accentuate past that job, past that hourly rate bullshit, past all that crap, and start to stand out on the right level of where you want to go to.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to add the value first.
100%.
If you add the value, you change your life.
Yeah.
Simple.
Exactly. And I feel like now, even back when I did put like dollar values to my work, when you sort of take a step back and you just put out good content, like, I could go and take jobs today worth $500 or whatever, but it's not really what I want to be doing. So there was a point in time there where I sort of got caught up with getting good money from videos that I didn't really care about, and then that set my dollar value. Like, it was decent money, but there was a limit because I was doing stuff that I didn't really enjoy. So I was never going to put in 18 hours in a day for that, because I was like, I'm going to put in 4 and fuck it off. I don't want to do it for the rest of the day. Yeah. But when I took a step back, took a pay cut pretty much, and was like, I'm going to start making videos that I want to make and resonate with people. Like, the most viewed videos on my Instagram now, one of them has 160,000 views and the other one has 140 or 150,000 views. I didn't get paid a cent to make those videos, but
I just did them
for the right reasons. But from those videos now, that's what people watched, and they're like, that's, a lot of new followers and things come on from that, or new eyes on me came from those videos. So my dollar value's gone up here now, because I was staying stable here for so long, working with brands, doing shit.
You thought if they paid that amount of money and that to you was equated to 3 hours of time, you put 3 hours of time into the video. And that's where a lot of people fall down.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you an example. I've done in 2018. I was working for like one of the biggest recording artists, celebrities in the world, removing content. Right, I got paid buck fuck nothing for the job. But what it led on to on the back end, and I removed a shitload of content.
Yeah,
right, damaging content that wasn't fairly online. I might add, and it's like, you got to see the wood for the trees, so to speak. It's not, you're putting time into the videos because that's your passion, but you've also got to understand that the editing that you do today lives on for 10 years.
It does,
right?
Yeah.
And your reputation as a videographer is predicated on that work for like 10 years. So you want to put your time into it, even if it took you 17 fucking hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Every video that you do should be the best fucking work that you've ever done.
Yeah, exactly.
Or try to be.
And there was a stage there where it wasn't, like, I was sort of I couldn't wait to finish. I lost the interest in it because I was making other companies a lot of money and not making myself a lot of money. Whereas when I took a step back and sort of started making videos and connecting with people on more of an emotional level, I didn't get paid a cent for those 2 videos that have the most views on my channel, but the amount of messages from people that were thanking me for making that, saying that it's helped them through depression, because I was like, you know, I was relating with people on an emotional level. It's sort of like that sort of stuff's new, and that's what Mitch does really well with his social media too, is by connecting with people on an emotional level. It's not, people aren't really used to it. They're used to these people online showing off things and being like, I'm the maddest, you know, I've got this, I've got a Lambo, I've got this and that. But when you show people that, like, I'm a real fucking human, and I've got problems, and I've got vulnerability, that's when it comes. Energy comes, gravitates towards you. That's when more money comes. Like, people say, I want to pay you to come here and do this. Like, now more than ever, I feel like people can feel your energy, because I'm so happy with what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing again. More people want to be around it. And that's, you know what I mean? Whereas beforehand, I was going down that path. People were probably going to stay away from me because I was doing the wrong things, you know what I mean? Whereas now, the amount of messages I get from people, hey man, I want to come down to one of those breathworks, hey man, what are you up to? Like, hey, there's so much gravitational pull towards what I'm doing, because I'm just so happy doing what I'm doing, and people want to be there for that. And I've got nothing to hide. You know what I mean? There's nothing. Whereas beforehand, like a lot of what these influencers have online, they're hiding a lot of things. They're pretending to be someone that they're not, which, you know, that's their thing, and you know, they can do whatever they want. But as soon as I stripped that back, and I was like, I'm just going to post it. Like, I went for a 15K run, and I fucking bawled my eyes out crying at the end of it. I posted that I was crying, because I thought, for me, it wasn't about, this was only a couple of weeks ago, for me, it wasn't about the distance in kilometres. It was the whole battle of, like, I've just ran so far and broke myself down to the point where I'm emotional. I'm going to share that with people and be like, it's not about how far I've run. It's about, I pushed through.
It's a beautiful thing to be vulnerable, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was sitting on the ground. I've never ran past 10 kilometres before, and so I kept looking down at my phone, because I run with my phone in my hand. I kept looking down, and I'd see the kilometres say 11K, 12K, and I thought, what's going on? The feeling that I had, I was like, this is insane. I've never seen those numbers on my run keeper before. And when you'd been blocked out by the conditioning of, like, you'd only done 10K. Yeah, I thought I was going to, and then once I pushed past that, I was going I remember at, like, the 13K mark, I was going so loopy in the head that I was imagining, I had my eyes shut, and I was imagining that there was a crowd either side of me, and I was coming through and high-fiving the crowd just to push me through the last 2 kilometres. That's why by the time I got to the 50, as soon as it ticked over to 15Ks, I fucking dropped to the ground. I was seeing stars and everything, and it wasn't about how far I've run. It was about when I thought I was going to give up, I pushed through. I'd done whatever. In my mind, I thought about the most random shit, whatever I could, just to get to the finish line. And once I got there, I felt like the world. I could do it. After that run, I felt like I could do anything. The world was my oyster. I was like, I've just only ran 15Ks, but I could go to Mars right now.
That is the power of the mind being aligned.
The mind, exactly. I would never have been able to do that if I didn't do my breath work and, like, and dive into myself on a deep and emotional level. Right now, me and Mitch were talking about this, actually. Feels like I'm in, like, a warrior state. Sounds weird, but, like, anything that I could do, I know I can do it.
Smash it,
I'm so zoned in on everything that I have gone on in my life right now. It's like, I know that I can do it, and nothing's going to stop me from getting there.
And honestly, I feel you on every level of that, because I know why I'm doing this podcast, and I know what I want it to do, and I know what value I want to bring to people.
Yeah.
And I'm working with Lino and doing all this breathwork stuff to find out even more about myself, so I can get even closer to the truth. So I can really fucking rock and roll.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And every time I go that little bit deeper, and I cry, and I show emotion, and I dig up emotions that have been buried in me since I was a kid, and you know, I deal with torment and all this stuff that have been burying for fucking years as a man, because it wasn't what I thought the world would want to see from me at the time. You know, you're not allowed to cry as a man, are you?
Yeah,
so the world tells you.
Yeah.
Every time you strip that back, is some powerful shit, and I fully resonate with everything you're doing because of that.
100%. We were even saying this morning, when me, Mitch, and Lino were doing our breathwork this morning, once we finished, Mitch was like, he's like, do you know what? He's like, I think we're up to phase 2. He was like, the last 12 weeks have been, really about, especially for me, it was really about rebuilding my life and actually where I wanted to go and how I'm going to get there and going deep within myself. But it's like now we were all sort of sitting there this morning. We're like, we've all sort of got there, and this morning felt like a little bit easy. It was almost like what we'd been doing for the past 3 months was almost becoming. It was easy for us to do. So by going to phase 2, we want to go deeper again. We're already gone pretty deep, but we want to go deeper again to push our limits and push our boundaries.
Yeah.
So the first thing we've got going on is on sun, because even like the sunrise now is getting earlier and earlier, so it's getting hard to wake up. And even me, like the last week, I sort of slacked off it a bit, and I was like, fuck, it's getting early. Like I might sleep in a little bit more and still go down the beach, but I just won't catch the sunrise. And that's what we're all sort of saying. And Mitch was like, let's go to phase 2. Let's start this and let's really push ourselves again and lead the way and show people that what we've done is good, but now you can never be content with what you're doing. We need to go to the next level. So we're going to go, I think we're doing it Wednesday morning, is we're going down to Tallabudgera Creek at night time, like before the sun comes up, 4 a.m. or whatever it is, and we're going to start doing our breath work in the middle of the lake with a fucking UE boom on like a boogie board or something afloat to keep it afloat, and we're going to do our breath work in the middle of the lake in the freezing cold and watch the sun come up and do it for a longer period of time, just to really break ourselves down again. Because that, for me, as soon as he said that, I was like, whoa, I don't know about that, but that's what I want. I want that. I want that. Oh, fuck, that's pretty tough, because for me, going down and doing sunrise breathwork now is like second. I'll do it. It's sweet. Whatever. I'll go there. But by getting up and even earlier again and going,
having to travel somewhere
and being in the water that's going to be cold, like that's what's really. I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And then Mitch is like, that's good. That's what we want. We're phase 2. If you're comfortable with coming here and doing this, so what are you not comfortable with? And that's going out in the middle of the water when you don't want to. Like, that's going to bring us deeper again. And there's only 3 months left of this year. So if I really, with the new online business and stuff launching, if I really want to make myself in the best physical state that I can, it's going to be, I need to go deeper again to make sure that I'm zoned in. Like, I want to have no distractions.
I love it. And the willingness you have to get into what we're talking about is so powerful.
Because imagine if you told that to someone listening, like, on Wednesday morning at 4 a.m, we're going to go into the middle of Tallabudgera Creek and play some weird music on a UE boom and breathe in the middle of the river. Like, people are like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. But I want people to think that, because by them thinking that makes me feel like I'm doing something that other people aren't.
It's a closed mindset. It's no different to a boxer that has to get ready for a fight and he has to do things that a normal human being would never even comprehend.
Yeah.
It's a videographer that works for Gymshark has to perform at a level second to none above the average person that will just edit videos on you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like everything to get to these levels that you want to be euphoric at, you have to do things that other people won't fucking even think about doing, bro.
I've always loved that. If other people are doing it, I don't want to do it. Like, even that's why I think even now with filmmaking and stuff, like, that's why I lost interest in it for a little bit there. And it was like so many people are coming and doing it now. For me, it's not. I wasn't really different to anybody else. I wasn't offering something. Yeah. I felt like I was just another number. You know what I mean? But by now showing people my journey of like going deeper within myself, like, not a lot of people are keen to show this. So by me showing it, and the people are like, Mitch and Lena, like, I feel like now I'm doing something different, and the people they're keen to watch it, and then that's going to reflect back on everything that I have going on in my life.
People are obviously keen to hear it, because obviously people are asking me to get you on it. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm talking, tens of people are asking me to when I'm putting out polls, like, your names come up. Yeah. And it's like, when I obviously knew you through Mitch and through mutual Lino and obviously mutual friends and that, it's like, and obviously we've been on this, we're going through this similar journey. You're probably a little bit further along on certain breathwork than me. But either way, now you have to seek to understand to be understood.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, when you start to, it's like, now I can effectively communicate this because I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'm living it. I'm understanding it. I'm going in deeper. I'm learning more about myself every day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to add more value to the world. You're doing the same. And that's why it's such a timely podcast to do, mate. Is because I honestly believe that if this gets 400, 500, 2,000 people to look into breathwork and to really understand that is everything that they're looking, right? Everything you're fucking looking for is within you, right?
Yeah.
So that Tesla, that fucking everything that you're buying to make yourself feel a certain way, to give yourself that buzz, that coffee you have in the morning to give you a buzz, all that is external shit that if you just go back to breath and go back to looking within, you will question everything that you're adding externally onto your life to make you feel a certain way about other things.
Yeah.
And it will change your fucking life.
It did. I remember, like, even just the simple things when I was very early on in my process was, Lena was like, you know, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And like, when I sort of really got to dive deep into myself and I found where I wanted to be, since that day, I've done everything that I can to make sure that every day I'm stepping closer and closer to get there. So that's why I think what I was saying, like that warrior mode is like, I know the things that I wrote down a few things that I wanted to achieve before the end of this year, 2021. And there's only 2 things I have on that list left to go. And I know I'm going to tick them off before, but all the rest, like I moved into a new house. You know, I've got my health back where I wanted it to be. Like even just being able to run 15Ks. Like when I was partying and stuff, there's no way I'd ever be able to do that. I actually just had a surgery done 2 weeks ago as well that I've been needing to get done for years. But it was like I just never had, because it was like $7,000 to do it. So it was like I didn't want to fucking spend $7,000 on a surgery. It was like that I didn't really, you know, not many people knew about. So
yeah.
I've been putting that off, and then, you know, to tick that off my list, and that's all done now and sorted out. You know, just these little stepping stones along the way. It's like breathwork is, I can literally put it down to the reason why I'm succeeding and ticking off my list is because of breathwork. 100%.
Yeah, because you've opened yourself up to doing the internal work.
Yeah.
And that's all anybody can ask. It's not, you don't need to be there day one. But you need to understand that this shit is fucking 100% real.
It's real.
And you know, if there's one thing you know about me, if you've listened to this for any time, you will know that if it's on here, I'm telling you for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
I'm not here to fucking, I've got nothing to sell you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Absolutely. I've got fuck all to sell you. But I'm telling you now, if you want to change your life, if you want me to have any impact on your life, if you want Jayden to do the same, like, you have to fucking understand, you have to look into breathwork, and you have to be willing and open to learning what it can bring to your game. Because it will enhance everything you do.
It opens your mind up. It stops. Now I don't care about what anybody else thinks. Like even before this, I never really cared about what anyone else thinks. But even now, even more than ever, it's like even just the fact when you're sitting there, it looks weird and people are walking past and shit. Like at the start, first time you do it, you might be looking around and just being like, "Oh, I wonder what these people are thinking." But now, because especially in breathwork too, you make a lot of, like, you can make a lot of noise, and you know, like you scream, or like things can come out, which
things they're just emotions that are stored within you that you've been suppressing.
Exactly. And then when you lose the sort of your vision around you, and you don't care about what people are listening to or thinking, that's like, that reflects on your whole life, not just in the breath, not just in that morning. You block out the noise in that breathwork session, you block out the noise in the rest of your life.
And then the real you comes out, the real work starts.
Yeah.
And can I just say this, right? When you, I think this will resonate with a lot of you that are listening right now. I used to think to myself, and bearing in mind that a lot of good shit has happened to me in my life predicated on the way I operate, but then certain patterns would keep happening in my life. It might be certain type of woman that I attract into my life, a certain type of energy that I attract into my life that I didn't like. And the reason it kept coming into my life and it kept showing its face was because of the way I'd operate and the energy I'd put out on certain vibrational levels.
Yeah.
Because of how I'd conditioned myself to be. Yeah. Right. And when you do breath work and when you open up that thing, you start to distill all that energy and get rid of all that shit.
Yeah.
And then you can clearly see what that lesson was teaching you.
100%.
And it shouldn't. If you're someone out there and you're like, you know, every partner I've attracted into my life has done this, right? That lesson keeps repeating itself to you for a fucking reason.
Yeah. And
you're ignoring it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever you've got to do, whether it's meditation, whether it's breath work, whatever you've got to do to become more inward, do that. Listen to yourself, and that will show you the path of how to fuck that off and to start attracting other things into your life. Because I guarantee you, that is what really changes things. It's what's really changed things for me.
Well,
really
I think
has.
like this is what a lot of people, even now, like, because I'm putting out this energy of showing my emotions and things like that. A lot of people are coming to me about their relationship problems and things like that as well, which is something that like I've never would have thought people would come to me for. But I think the one thing that I always like to say to people is like, I've obviously been through, you know, you go through relationship issues and things like that, and I think like the one thing that I always think now is I'm so happy with who I am as a person. Yeah. I don't care if a girl in my life comes or goes, because I know what I'm doing is right. I'm on the right path. So I don't let it affect I used to let it affect me a lot. Like I would get, bro. You know, I'd get really, I would go, if the girl that I was seeing wasn't happy, I wasn't happy. You know, my emotions reflected on what they felt. But now, so like people come, like, you know, I'm going through this with my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, man, it's not her, it's you. Like, if you're happy, even though you could love someone, everyone's got feelings, you could love somebody, but if you let it affect you, it's because of your own issues. It's not because of the girl. You know what I mean? This
is it, bro. Right? And again, I'm going to be totally fucking honest with people on there. The two women that I've had feelings for that in the last 16 months, 24 months, that have left me feeling a little bit like broken inside, so to speak, it is the only way I can describe it, is all down to me.
Yeah, it is.
Everything within that was down to me and what work I needed to do.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're a man who's willing to do that fucking work, you can free yourself from that shit. And it's like, I realized that those two situations present themselves because of emotional baggage that was tied way back to my childhood with my mum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And the reason those type of women were presenting themselves in my life was because I hadn't boxed off how I felt about. Logically, I'd got over it. Logically, I'd got over that shit. But emotionally, it was all still trapped in my body.
Yeah.
And when things trigger you, emotionally, you will react because the way that your body always reacts.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will present certain things. So for argument's sake, a woman may present you with a scenario as a test in your life, and you'll keep reacting the same fucking way because emotionally you've reacted like that since you were fucking 4 years old.
Yeah.
Well, what breathwork does is allows you to go to the depths of that emotion and release it from your body and release it at a cellular level. And then it's amazing that you don't keep going to seek that anymore.
No.
Because you're not seeking that. You're not seeking that type of validation from. If I was seeking that type of validation from my mum, it's not strange that I'm seeking those type of validations from other people throughout my life.
Yeah.
Yes, they could be fucking the most beautiful women in the world to look at, but if I'm still repeating the same pattern from my childhood throughout my life, they are not the fucking women that I want to be around.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And that is the power of what breathwork has already shown me, and we're only a few months in. If that's the power a few months in, imagine what can be on the other side of it doing it 12 months, 2 years. Exactly.
That's what Mitch keeps telling me. He's like, bro, he's like, you're only 3 months in. He's like, imagine 12 or imagine 24. It's like, the amount of like change that I've had over the past couple of months, I can't even imagine where I'll be at. Like, I'm so happy now. Whatever happens in the next 12 months, like, it's going to happen, but I'm you know, I'm ready. I'm here for the journey.
Have you noticed in your life that you, after doing breath work, have you noticed that there was certain, like what I've just described in particular, have you learned that that's shown up for you, like in terms of
I definitely think that
was there patterns there?
Yeah, definitely there was patterns. So I think like any relationship that I've had in the past is I kept going back to the exact. It felt like I was living in a repeating movie. You know what I mean? I could, even when I was in it, I could tell you the ending before it had ended. You know, bro, I was like,
100%, bro, 100% right. The 100%. And it's so fucking important, bro. Because I'm like, when it ended with his last woman, right? I was like, I swear I've been here before, bro.
Exactly, 100%.
And then I looked back at I look back at every fucking woman I've seen since I was fucking in school, and it all ended with the same way, and I'd always reacted the same fucking way, 100%. And I'd always like, right, fucking this,
like because you've created that's your movie, you know,
because that's your reality, bro.
Yeah,
like I created the same fucking pattern of events with the same type of women. Yes, they all look different. Yeah. But it's the same fucking thing.
Well, we're all, we're all a creature of habit, you know, we fall back into doing the same things that's why I'm genuinely so interested in even my own life right now, is because previously I could have told you the ending to my movie. Right now, I can't tell you the ending to my movie. I've got no fucking idea.
Because you're still creating it.
I'm still creating it right now.
You're not living it, you're creating it.
Yeah.
That is very important. He's not living it, he's creating it. And that's the same thing with me. It's like, don't get me wrong, I had a good pattern of success in other areas of my life, like my fitness and other stuff that was going real well. But then my relationships on this side of the coin were all ending in the same light. We're all starting in the same vein, ending in the same vein. Yeah. And I always felt like disappointed in that. And I was like, what? And it took me back. And when it was stripped back, it was like, because of, it was all predicated to do with that childhood. It's all predicated to do with that. So when you, it's all right logically looking at it and removing the logical behind it, but you got to remove the emotional attachments to that shit.
Yeah, 100%. Right?
What I've realised is I went down Burley Pav at the weekend. Right, Burley Pav, for those of you that don't know whether you're in England or that, it's a real nice place. One of the most epic views on the Gold Coast of the sun setting and on the city and all that stuff. Real nice venue. I go there and I know, because of the amount of work that I'm doing, I'm going there and I'm thinking, fuck me, how many broken people are in the world?
Oh, 100%.
I'm sat there and I'm just sat there and I'm drinking my Diet Coke because I don't drink, man.
Yeah.
I sat there and I'm drinking it I've got my mate George there, and we just sat there and fucking we're just deep engrossed in the conversation. And then he's like, fuck, we've been in a conversation a little while now, and there's people coming up, because obviously people can see your energy, so people are attracted to
100%.
Because you're actually having a present conversation. Like, there's no phones, bro. It's like literally we're both fully present, and I kept finding it weird how people kept coming joining in with this conversation, because like it was just weird, bro. I'd never thought of it like this before. And then I looked round the room, and it's like I see why now, because everybody else, it just felt like was like engrossed in this phone, or they were trying to be somewhere else rather than being right there, right present, right now.
Yeah, they're in their Monday to Friday movie, you know,
and they're in that fucking weekly loop.
Weekly loop, that's the one.
And they keep rolling this, and they end up at Burley Pav every Saturday and Sunday, but it's the same night out.
Yeah, that I guarantee you, this is what I've found lately as well, because I've been sober for the past 3 months. Like, I've had go out and have a drink for dinner or something like that, but like I haven't been drunk in 3 months. So same thing. I had an experience at Burley Pav where I went there 100% sober, like just on Diet Cokes, like you were, and the amount of people that were coming up to me and just like, you know, oh hey man, I've seen you, like you know you're doing this, blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, let me buy you a drink, and then I'm like, no, I'm not drinking tonight. They're like,
they look at you weird,
and then they look at you weird at the start, and you're like, what do you mean? And then I'm like, oh no, I'm going for a run in the morning, and they're like, what the fuck, you going for a run? I'm like, yeah, Sunday mornings I usually go and do the mega run thing, like we do 10Ks, blah blah blah. And then especially like, even like, I don't know, when you're talking to girls or something, like at the first, like, it almost makes them feel like like it belittles them a little bit. Like I don't mean to do it, but they almost feel shit about themselves because they're like, oh. Fuck, like you're really you're doing that, and I'm like yeah, and then it makes them sort of feel like, oh fuck, like what am I doing? Because they're drunk, they're there at the pub, you know. It makes them question you, and I don't mean to do that, and I'm like, no, it's all good. You drink, like you have fun, like it's just not what I'm doing right now.
I'm not judging anyone for going and drinking at the pub.
No, because I'll still be there. There'll be another day where I'll go there and I'm fucked up. I'm not going to not party again. You know what I mean?
And there'll be days when you want to do that.
Yeah,
but the problem is, there's a lot of people that go there, and a lot of people that go to these venues and go and get drunk every week because they're trying to numb themselves from doing the fucking work that they should be doing.
Exactly,
and that's all I mean. And when I mean, I've never drank alcohol, right? Never smoked, but the thing is, people will judge you for that now.
Exactly, yeah, 100%.
People like, what do you mean you don't drink? You're a bit weird, aren't you? And I'm like, bruv, don't you think it's weird that you need alcohol to even go and have a conversation with a woman?
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
you think it's weird that you need alcohol to go and have fun?
Yeah.
Like, do you not see that the person who's weird in this situation isn't fucking me, bro?
Yeah, exactly. It's not.
I'm trying to get closer to my truth. You're fucking trying to get away from it.
Get away from it, exactly. Yeah. And even that night that I was there and I experienced all this sort of stuff, like I drove myself home, I knew everybody's night out. I seen everybody there. I knew exactly what you got up to, and then I woke up the next day and went for my run, and they're all still either partying or they're asleep, and I'm like, yeah. So I've had the same night out as what you have, but I've just made a different choice. My choices have led me to be feeling fucking on top of the world on a Sunday morning. I've just ran 10K, and I've still been to the Pav the night before.
Yeah, because because you can go to these venues and you can have a great time and you can socialize and have food and be normal and all this stuff. All you've taken away is the narcotics and the fucking alcohol. And then you've freed your mind. So you can go to bed at 11 o'clock, and that still might be a late night, or 12 o'clock.
Because I'd go home tired. You know what I mean? I'm not going home buzzing. Like, I'm going home, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to wake up. I've got something to wake up for the next day. A lot of these people, it's Sunday, they've got no work, they've got nothing to wake up for. So by me forcing myself to go for this run on a Sunday morning, that gives me something to be like, no, I need to go home and go to bed now because I have this to wake up for in the morning.
And that right there is essentially how you've changed your life and how I'm changing. How I continue to change mine. It's simply this: we know there's certain things that we can do if we want to go and do them. But not that I'd ever drink or do drugs and that, but like you can go do them if you ever want to go do them. But you've got a framework to operate within because you've done because you've gone that little bit deeper than the surface level within yourself, and you've actually understood. Okay, actually, I'm doing that because I want to look a certain way and surround myself with a certain type of person.
It was actually funny. I was talking to my mates yesterday because this weekend coming, Will Sparks is playing at the Cali Beach Club. And even like on the opening and stuff, I seen all my friends were there. Like everyone was posting it online and all this sort of stuff. I still haven't been there yet because I'm like, I don't want to there was so much temptation, but I've been building this online business. I've said to myself, I'm not going and partying until this is done, because if I went and done that, I would feel bad about myself because I'm getting further away from my goals. Whereas now that all the work's been done for my online course, and this weekend it's Sparksy's playing, so he's hit me up. He's like, let's go, man. Like, it'll be a good time. So I'm like, sweet. This weekend, I can allocate this weekend to drinking because now the last 3 months, I've put in the work. I've done what I wanted to do, and I'm still young. I can go and have fun if I want to. Yeah. But by now, I'm not going to feel bad about being there. I'm not going to feel like, I want to be there, and I want to be in that environment, partying with my friends and having a good time because I fucking deserve to be there. I'm not going there because it's a Saturday. I'm not going. It's not. I've selected this weekend because I feel like now is my reward for the work that I've put in, and it makes me feel good. I'm excited for this weekend.
But you have to be able to forgo certain things in life to get to certain destinations that you want to get to.
Yeah,
and life is fully about taking things away rather than adding things.
Exactly.
And when you learn the power of the value of that statement that I've just dropped there, when that clicks in your fucking head, it will revolutionize how you move.
Yeah.
You will move different. You will move different because it's just not about more. It's always about less. What shit can I remove from my life?
Exactly.
What stuff am I holding on to even in your home? that's negative energy on you. You see every day that fucking reaffirms a certain feeling in yourself. It's massive. Everything has a reaction to it, man.
100%. And it's just like and it's also how you handle those reactions too.
Yeah, and I think, mate, this has been a powerful podcast because I think it'll put into context the way that me and you are trying to turn up better every day.
That's it. That's what. I right now I feel like I just want to be the best. It's so cliche to say it. Like, I don't want to be the best version of myself, but everybody says it, but no one's actually doing it. But I can stand here today and confidently say that that's what I'm doing. I'm fucking doing that. You know, I'm not just saying it as a cliche.
You and me both, mate. For years, mate. I was turned up how the world wanted. For years, I turned up how I thought the world wanted Frankie to be, rather than who Frankie was.
Exactly.
And ever since I've found podcasting and I've found all this kind of stuff, and I'm doing it for a reason way beyond myself, I've become so much lighter, and things have really started to change, man. And and I see that in you too. Yeah. So, mate, phenomenal, right? And the one thing I like to do before we sign off the podcast is, if there's one piece of advice that you got to leave for the world, and you couldn't leave anything else, you couldn't leave your course or nothing else you're doing, you could only leave that one piece of pearl of wisdom and advice that you've lived through that you could instill into others, what would it be? I definitely feel like you need to build a team around you to help get yourself out of any situation. You're never going to do it by yourself. So that's what happened with me in my situation. For so long, I kept it to myself and thought that, I was the only person that was going to be able to get myself out of here, which in some cases is true, but trust me, it is a lot easier to do it when you've got a team of people behind you helping you in the right direction. It becomes, you've got one person paddling your boat, it's fucking hard to go upstream, but if you've got 10 people, you're going to be hooking. So that's definitely what I've found. My friends and family around me ever since I've had my incident is I've got people behind me now who they've always backed me, but I just thought that by me making the wrong decisions, I thought they would be angry at me. But trust me, they're definitely the people around you love you and they care about you. So it doesn't matter what you do, if you can be honest and explain to people that you fucked up and you need some help, they're going to be there to help you. Yeah, and you'd be surprised who will be there for you when you stand up and take account for who you are too. Exactly. So guys, if we've dropped as much value as I think we've dropped on your ears today, do me a favor, share this on socials, drop a message to me or Jayden on social media at Frankie Lee, and what's yours? At Jayden Hoskin, At Jayden Hoskins, and drop us a message, man. Let us know if we've impacted you in any way. I certainly would love to hear it. I know Jayden would too. Yeah. If you can do us a solid favour and leave a review on Apple as well, a comment on YouTube, whatever you got to do, put this in as many people's ears as possible. I think people need to start really understanding who they are, and I think breath work and I think real conversations like this that we bring you every week is where it needs to start. Because and I'm not saying this to be out there or anything, but I've listened to a lot of podcasts that are classed as what I term as competition in Australia especially, and it's so surface level, a lot of this shit that they're talking about. There's no depth to it. I'm trying to put real conversations and real depth and real purpose in this because I'm actually trying to fucking move all of you forward. I actually fucking care about you. Like, do you know what I mean? If you listen to this, I actually fucking care about you. Know that. He knows the fucking truth. I'm telling you. Right? I'm telling you straight. So if you could do that for me, if you could share the content, I know you might have already shared another one. Share this one too. Like, just please, if we're giving you any value, I'd appreciate it. And I'll drop the links to the course and everything else that Jayden talked about as well, and our Instagrams and that if you want to follow us. But much love. We appreciate you, and thanks again.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Frankie Lee Podcast.